Welcome to America's Home Cooking. Now I am going to read this from my book. This person had gone a lot through sourdoughs. He went around the world getting a lot of sourdough cultures. Very smart man. Okay, now he has successfully and consistently baked good sourdoughs with a variety of machines, but none of them is designed specifically for breads that allow the user to set the last rising cycle as long as desired. The delay cycles, which almost all machines have, require the baker to load the ingredients carefully within the yeast on top to prevent any activity until the delay ends, at which time the relatively short cycle begins. This obviously is not designed for sourdoughs. All right, so if you're making sourdough, you cannot use a machine. He has some ideas, but he says it's pretty tricky if I read everything here. The machines he has evaluated include two of the Breadman family, the Dream Model TR3000 and the 98 Ultimate TR2200C. Both have bake-only cycles that do permit the dough to ferment as long as you wish. Be sure that the Ultimate is the TR2200C, since the 97 Ultimate doesn't have the bake-only cycle. The Dream has a vertical pan 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inches, while the Ultimate has a horizontal pan 7 1/2 by 5 inches. He also tested 3 Toastmaster machines, the Breadbox Model 1148X with a small 6 1/2 by 5 1/4 inch horizontal pan, a Corner Bakery Bread and Dessert Maker Model 1193N with a vertical pan 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 inches, and a large Breadbox Model 1142 with a horizontal pan 7 1/2 by 5 1/4 inches. The Zojirushi Model BBCC-S15 has a vertical pan that measures 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inches. Now, all 6 machines performing mixing and kneading well, and all would be satisfactory using the dough cycle for the short intervals needed to produce sourdoughs. The temperature in the 3 Toastmaster models, however, exceeded 100 during basic white bread cycles, which would be damaging to sourdough organisms if the dough cycle were complete. Similar maximum temperatures of the Dream was 98, and the Ultimate was 95, and the Zojirushi was 85. Since the Dream and the Ultimate are the only machines among the 6 with bake-only cycles, they are preferred for sourdoughs. But as has been pointed out, even these require special attention if room temperature operation is desired. Now, in addition to timing and temperature, correct dough consistency is critical for success with machine-mixed sourdoughs. This is a particular problem with sourdoughs because one is never precisely sure how much flour and water is added with the culture. If the dough is too thin, it will often rise and then retract somewhat or collapse. If it is too thick, it may not rise at all. The problem is fairly easy to correct, provided you recognize it and add either a little additional water or flour, whichever is indicated. The trick is to recognize the problem by watching the kneading paddle after the flour and ingredients have been added. After 3 or 4 minutes, when all the ingredients are well mixed, the dough should form a soft ball that catches and drags on the side and bottom of the pan as the paddle resolves. If instead it forms a firm ball that revolves with or on the paddle, it doesn't catch all the sides, it is too thick and isn't kneading properly. To correct this, add water a tablespoon at a time until the dough begins to adhere. If the dough doesn't form a ball, it is too thin and flour should be added a tablespoon at a time. Allow sufficient time for adding either flours or water for it to incorporate into the dough before adding more. Most machines have 2 kneading cycles, and you should check the consistency on both. Now, some machines, such as Zojirushi, have a rod that projects from the side of the pan and catches the dough as it revolves. This provides a superior kneading action. Others have a paddle and a pan shape that produce a particular formation in the dough that resembles a mini tornado as it curls and twists up the sides of the pan. Judging paddle consistency takes experience with the machine you are using, since there is considerable variation in the size, shape, and ridges on the pan walls, all of which affect the efficiency in kneading action. This is why I don't use a bread machine. But if you want to use a bread machine, I wouldn't use it for the sourdoughs. You could use it probably for the other ones because I don't use them. I learned on my hands how to do it. Now, I'm reading this to give you a little better idea of what's going on with these. If you're trying with sourdough, you're going to have a lot of problems. The bread machine has been promoted as the answer to simplified baking for the person with limited time who wants to program the machine and deliver fresh baked breads. Okay? And it does a fairly good job, but they do lack the appearance of the intricate fresh French loaves with its slashed crust, and it'll never turn out an Arab pita bread or a Swiss braid or a Russian round or the pan of dinner rolls. But anyway, that's it. Now, I'm going to read this part so you can, if you wish to try to do sourdoughs in your bread machine. Each of the following recipes is designed to produce a 2-pound loaf. For those who weigh things, the dough should weigh 34 to 35 ounces, since about 2 ounces of moisture will disappear during baking. You can even start with a cold culture right out of the refrigerator, since the machine under your expert direction will reactivate the semi-dormant organisms before the final cycle starts. The recipes are also crafted at a ratio of 63% flour to 37% water, a good machine consistency. In more complex recipes with multiple flours, including rye, bulgurs, ingredients, the absorbed water in large amounts, more water will be required. And they say watch the paddle action to judge how much to add. So you're going to have to do that. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.